Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we're going to fly the lovely JustFlight Avro RJ once again. And as a couple of you have requested me to fly outside of Europe for a little bit, well, here we are in South Africa exploring Build's Johannesburg scenery up to FSDG's updated Victoria Falls. Certainly an interesting route, and one that I would probably have been rather unsure if I actually wanted to fly that one on the channel a little while ago, but hey, let's just give it a go following your requests, guys. Okay, so follow me inside and we can start to set our aircraft up for today's service. Now again, beautiful cabin inside here, absolutely no doubt about that, so let's take a seat and get ready. The weather radar is currently switched off, the transponder is on standby down here, the air brakes are up and the flaps are up as well. Then with that, let's go ahead and ensure that our no smoking signs are auto, the nav lights can already come on and the cabin emergency lighting is armed. Well, and with that, let's power up the batteries. So battery 1 and 2 are looking good, battery power is coming on, and since we also have external power available, let's switch that one on as well. Now with power applied to the aircraft...
Awareness, okay. Meters.
Thank you. So with power applied to the aircraft, we check that the parking brake is set, and then we can move up to the very top and turn on all our aircraft systems down here. So the brake fans can stay off for now, any skid on, and the lift spoilers also on. And here we go. Then moving a little bit further down, generators are in the off and reset position. If we have a look at our current outside air temperature, we can see we have roughly 20 degrees outside. So with the sun shining down on our aircraft, I want to get the APU running. So let's run the APU overspeed and the APU fire tests. Here we go, then we can turn the left inner pump on and start the APU in order to get our air conditioning going. In the meantime, on the overhead panel we do have an even day today. That means we are going to use lube A for our fire extinguishers. And then while the APU start is in progress, let's already go down, test the master warning system. And everything down here is looking good and back in the off and muted position. So last but not least, we got to turn on our IRSs, both of them. So both IRSs in nav, then we can also turn on our main EFIS system. Well, and with that, APU is available, so APU air on and the packs on, and here we go. Last but not least, flight deck emergency lighting armed, and we actually got to keep the fasten belts off for a minute, since we haven't refueled the aircraft yet. So before we do that, let's head into our sim brief menus, and down here we do have the operational flight plan available. It looks a little bit weird, unfortunately, but we can still find the kind of information that we're looking for. So over here in Johannesburg, unfortunately no current ATIS available and no weather data available, but in Victoria Falls we do have weather available. The general forecast, however, doesn't really seem accurate. That's from the 26th. That's a couple of weeks old. Welcome to Africa. And the current weather does show thunderstorms. So Victoria Falls definitely doesn't have the best kind of weather here. Looking at our first alternate, Harare, they do have a forecast available, and that Prop 30 tempo down here is just light thunderstorms. We can basically disregard that, and apart from that we do have good weather forecast. There are a couple CBs in the area with some showers at the moment, totally normal for these times in Africa, where there is summer at the moment. Always keep that in mind. Now, let's have a look at the fuel. Basically, the minimum for us is 6.7, and if we take a look up here, we can see we're almost at the maximum landing weight. So we don't want to take much more than we absolutely have to. So I'd say the alternate is okay, Therefore, let's take the 6.7. Let's go back to the aircraft menu, import the SimBrief data, please. You can do an instant refueling, but make sure that we actually have what we need. So that's like 7.0. Yeah, that's within the max landing weight, that is okay. Alright then, refueling, and let's do that. And then let's go for our passengers, and yeah, I tell you what, let's just do an instant boarding over here, that's fine. 100 guests, so we are completely full today.
Cabin crew, arm doors and cross-check.
Alright. So with that, we do have our guests on board, we have the air conditioning going, that's all we can ask for the time being. Very good. Alright then, let's continue with our aircraft setup, and next up we are going to move down into the FMS. So let's quickly grab our SimBrief flight plan down here, and then FMC, Avro RJ85 LF507 engines. The nav database is current at the time of this recording. And position in it, so we are going to use the GPS position for that. So we don't have a GPS installed over here, that's fine. Let's see if we can load it up from the gate. We're on Echo 3 today. So Echo 3. No gate position, unfortunately. Alright, then we are just going to use the last position. That looks rather accurate. Alright, fine with me. Now, let's do our route. Fox Alpha Oscar Romeo. Destination Fox Victor Fox Alpha. And the flight number is going to be Link 464 Delta. Alright, inserted. Now, we are departing Johannesburg today. Let's go ahead and open the charts. Joburg. Airport, ground chart. So we're departing off runway 3 left. And we can pin that as well as the parking chart. And then we just need our departure charts. So 3 left, sit 3 left. Gotta be that one then. Let's pin the on-off charts as well, just to be on the safe side. And we have the Nissan 1 Alpha departure route. So let's load that one. Here we are. Alright then, over to the route. So we continue via Uniform Quebec 40 towards EVP. Next up, we've got Uniform Quebec 16. And that one leads us to Admit. Then we continue along Uniform November 309 towards Bonao. Or actually, yeah, to Bonao. I was a little bit confused because the next airway is Uniform Mike 309 to Victor Fox Alpha, so rather similar airway there, but gotta make sure that we don't confuse that. And that leads us to Victor Foxtrot Alpha, which is the Victoria Falls VOR, and from there we are going to fly the ILS approach towards runway 12. We'll take the transition out of Fox Alpha 003, and I'll give you that in a little bit more detail once we're actually en route. Now let's have a look at our SID. Nope, that's not the one. So then it's got to be the SID 03 left chart. Yep, that's definitely it. Nissan 1 Alpha on-off departure. Straight at 5.5 DME, then to 8 DME, and then a left-hand turn inbound to Nissan. Well, that's kinda easy. I can do that. Even I can do that. Alright, so let's see. 8 DME from Juliet Sierra Victor, so we can certainly turn that one on already. That's gonna be 15.2. And here we go. Now, why does the GSX TUC have its wipers on when we clearly have very good weather? Suppose I don't want to know. Alright, so That routing is in and checked. Then let's continue on to our performance initialization. So we've got an estimated zero fuel weight of 35.1. The reserves today are 2.1 plus 0.9, so 3 tons. And the cruise level 290. So for the wind data, 316 at 3. ISA deviation plus 17, so that's probably the reason why we're flying so low today. It's just incredibly warm. And the transition altitude is 8,000. Which you've got to remember is just 3,000 above the ground here in Johannesburg, since we're located at an elevation of 5,558 feet. So really high altitude airport. And really warm, so that's pretty much the two worst things that can happen to you. Alright, I'm going to use the fast speed schedule today. Then maximum level 350, easy going, and the descent data is looking good for the time being, but we probably won't need much of that anyway. At least certainly not now. Alright, so that's our FMS preparation completed. Then let's start on the overhead panel with our panel scan. So up here everything is set, then we can test the hydraulics. First of all, DC pump on. And then quick look down here at the brake pressure, which has risen, so the DC pump is working. Then let's turn on the AC pump, and we'll see the yellow hydraulic pressure rising. Now turn on the PTU, we see the green hydraulic pressure rising. And now we can turn them both back off again. Alright, going down onto the fuel panel. Not much for us to do up here. On the electrical panel, same thing. Can bring the APU generator online already. Alright, then we can continue down here, and there's really not that much for us to set. I'll put the engine anti-ice on already, so that I can't forget it later. On the next panel, the landing field elevation is a little bit lower. Oh, no, didn't mean to put it into the test mode. Okay, I was too quick there. So, it's around about 3,000 in Vic Falls. Let's give it a short while to run the test, and once that is completed, I'll enter the actual landing elevation. So the ice detector is coming on. Down here everything is set. Up here everything is set. Tell you what, let's turn the fans on, makes it a little bit easier. Okay, no smoking sign on, and up here everything's set as well. Alright, here we go. Landing field elevation, roughly 3,000. Okay, fasten belts on, and then moving down to the main panel. Now things start to get a little bit complicated, because there is actually no weather data available for Johannesburg. So we don't know the actual QNH. So all we got to do is to look down here, check our field elevation, 5560 basically. Now we can kind of set our altimeter to reflect that, but that's of course not really the most accurate way to obtain your QNH. In the real world, with the weather services currently failed like that, of course air traffic control would do that stuff for you. And you would just request the data from ATC. Alright, over here everything's set, then moving downstairs. I do want my airports visible, and I want the data. And that's it for the time being. Alright, on the radios, 122.8 active on number 1 and 121.5 on number 2. Right, the transponder, TCAS range 12 miles is good. I want the TCAS on the above mode. Flight recorder, test, looking good, and the rest is already set. Perfect. So the last thing for us to do is now our MCP. So on here, what do we have? Let's start with the runway heading. Which is 035. I'll put that into the courses as well. So that was a bit fast maybe. Here we go, 035. Unfortunately, we're missing the SID PT chart, so I'll just say 15,000 initial. Okay, flight directors are on. 15.2 in the VORs. That's looking good. And just to be sure, we don't actually need to turn them on separately over here, because that is something that on the BAE 146 you gotta pay attention to. Over here, unfortunately, not so much a problem. Well, so, our boarding was completed a little while ago already, so I suggest we're gonna continue with our performance. So 42 tons is our final takeoff weight here, and just to be on the safe side, zero fuel weight is now 35.0. So we are like 100 kilos lighter compared to the flight plan, so that's all within limits. So 42 tons is going to be the takeoff weight, and that's the chart that we're using up here indeed. Okay, so we are going to run full toga. I'm not going to do a flex temperature at these hot and high conditions as we have them over here. So V1 is going to be 133. Then rotate also 133. And the clean speed is 186. Like that. Perfect. Right, V2 139. Here we go. That's all set, and with that, our pre-flight is basically completed, so let's go for the departure briefing, please. Alright, so I'll start with that. We're departing Johannesburg, runway 03 left. Our departure is the NASA 1 Alpha departure, initially to 15,000, and the MSA in the area is something like 8,000, I believe. Let's bring that chart up one more time. Yeah, 7,800, so 8,000 is going to keep us safe. No hotspots for the taxi routing, and we have plenty of stop margin available. It's a very long runway, especially for our kind of aircraft. Now, if we need to make an immediate return, Joburg is the best option in the area. Weather is good, and we have full handling capabilities over here as well. We are above the maximum landing weight though, so we'll do the overweight landing procedure if time permits, otherwise we'll just skip among that. Basically the APU is running anyway, so not much for us to miss out on over there. Okay, that's pretty much it. I don't have any specials or non-standards. Do you see any threats? Hot and high operation, yeah, can't really do much about that. We ain't gonna dig a 5,500 feet hole to take off in there. Okay, so that's the briefing completed. And let's see if we do have a checklist available over here. Doesn't look like there's a checklist in there. Then maybe over here? Yeah, here we have a normal checklist. That's better. Okay, cockpit preparation checklist. Circuit breakers checked in, radar off, electrics set. Panels and pedestal checked, oxygen valve and pressure. That's the one that I just always forget. Alright, so it's on now. Okay, so, checked. Then, crew at station checklist. Pins and covers on board. Aircraft lock checked, park and brake set, fuel quantity and flow meters checked. And reset altimeters, QNH 1020 reading 5,560, pressurization checked, IRS checked, FMS checked, flight guidance checked, crew at station checklist complete down to the line. Okay then, so that much for the basics. External power off, ground power disconnect, and the park and brake is definitely set, so we can remove the trucks and then we can prepare our position for pushback and departure, please. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of South African Airlink, I'd like to welcome you aboard flight 464 to Victoria Falls. The flight time today is going to be 1 hour and 25 minutes at an altitude of around 29,000 feet, which is around 9,000 meters. Would like to thank you for being our guests. Sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us, and if there is anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please do not hesitate to ask any of our charming cabin crew. We will get back to you with the latest weather information before we start our approach to Victoria Falls, so for the time being, sit back, relax and enjoy the flight with us. So, let's see. VHF 1, here we go. Alright. Nice little cup holder down here, but we are not gonna need that for our takeoff. Alright. So, we are pretty much ready with that, so let's see what our takeoff trim is gonna be. 32%, so yeah, that's pretty much set. Okay, cruise station checklist below the line. Takeoff data checked, trim set, and takeoff briefing performed. Cruise station checklist complete. So they're lifting us up, then let's do the before start procedure. And before start checklist, please. Let's see how much I actually forgot. So, fasten belts on, packs and APU air. Yep, here we go. Off, beacon on, fuel panel set, doors closed, slides armed, TCAS, TARA, before start checklist complete. Okay, they did already play the armed doors command themselves. Okay, so ground from flight deck? Yeah, go ahead. So please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, general equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. All confirmed, Captain. Thank you very much. Then we are clear to push, facing... what's that? Facing east, and the parking brake is released. Roger, start the push, you're clear to start your APUs. Thank you. Starting APUs 1 through 4... actually the other way around, 4 through 1 in that sequence. And here we go. So there is absolutely nothing around us. I'm not gonna wait for the road. Let's go ahead and start the engines. Okay, engine 4 start. And 2. Are they pushing us onto the road? Oh, you gotta be kidding me, GSX. Cannot distinguish a road from a taxiway. At least they hit the center line, if you can call it like that. Okay, we have a good start in engine 4, starting engine 3. Clear in 3. So, engine 3 start, and 2. And 1. And that's a good start on engine 3. We are starting engine 2. Clear 2. So, push complete, set your brakes. Brake set. And we have N2. Oil pressure is slightly rising, N1. So, one more time. Finding that fuel lever. In the meantime, they have put us down. Very good. We have a good start in engine 2, starting engine 1. Clear 1. So, one more than we have it. Always takes such a long time to start those 4 APUs. Right, 10%. Here we go. So, they just disconnected themselves, but there she is, holding a pin. Engine is doing well. That's okay. Let her go. So, forward starts, clear disconnect, clear turn right, and bye-bye. Well, there she goes. Fair enough. Okay, forward starts. Okay, flaps 18. Flag control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudders. Full left. Full right. And neutral. So, what did I forget? The brake fan. Here we go. And then we have only the park and brake and the master caution. Very good. So, after engine start checklist. Generators, online, brake fans, auto, hydraulics on and auto, ice protection off, air conditioning on APU, auto throttle. I keep forgetting that one. Okay, auto throttle armed, flaps 18. Flag controls checked, clear signal received after engine start checklist complete and ready for taxi. Okay, on the right side, clear on the left side. So, taxi as briefed, we first of all vacate that lovely road down here. And then we continue via Delta, Alpha, and all the way down to Bravo for a full-length departure of runway 03 left. Brake check. Brakes okay. I don't want to go over 40% N1 here, but it kinda seems like we do need that much. Okay, then we'll go next to the right. Well, and off we go. So, let's review our takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left seat takeoff of runway 03 left with flaps 18, takeoff speeds 133, 133, 139, flap retraction at 186. The sit is more or less straight ahead for around 5 nautical miles, then a left-hand turn, slight left-hand turn, initial climb 15,000, which is 10,000 above the ground. It's hot and high conditions, so if the plane feels a little bit more sluggish than what we're used to, that is absolutely expected and no reason to worry. Well, in case of emergencies, especially engine failure, expect rather bad performance of the aircraft. Of course, we are still going to be legal, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. But nonetheless, the important thing for us to consider here is that our aircraft is going to have that strong tendency not to fly. So be sure that we don't pitch too high in case of an engine failure. so that we don't lose any of the valuable speed. That's really going to be the most important point. We can proceed straight ahead for 25 miles, there are no obstacles over there. 7,800 is the MSA, so 8,000 is going to keep us safe. If an immediate return becomes required, then we have good weather conditions. We can come back for a visual approach onto runway 03 left or right. I tend to favor 03 left since it's somewhat closer to all those important buildings that we have over here. And that's our departure briefing reviewed. Any questions? No? Okay. So, taxi checklist, ATC clearance verified, thrust and takeoff data. We're using maximum and the speeds are rechecked. What's the sim doing? Oh, here we move again. Oh, that's interesting. That was certainly a first time. Okay, so flaps and speeds checked, takeoff briefing completed, config. Is checked. Master warning system checked and cabin secured. Taxi checklist complete. Okay, clear on the right side. Clear on the approach, which is straight ahead. Are you ready to go? Seems like it. So, 03 left via Bravo, cleared for takeoff. The wind? Unknown. The windsock anywhere nearby? I did see a couple during taxi. Yeah. From the right, 10 knots.
03 left.
10 knots from the right, that's fine.
On runway 03 left.
That's intentionally. Okay, so. Yeah, from the front right, around about 10 to 15 knots. Certainly within limits. Okay, are you ready? Then timing. And takeoff. So, stabilized.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff.
Check thrust. Thrust set. Airspeed alive.
Cabin is clear for departure.
Oh, thank you.
80 knots.
Checked. You can really see it's a very long takeoff run here.
Go. Rotate. Positive climb.
You're up.
0 selected.
Select LNAV. LNAV. Okay, 1,000 above the ground, select VNAV. Actually, VNAV is an operative in this aircraft, so select level change. And speed 210. Selected. Set climb thrust.
checked. Flaps 0.
Flap 0. Now look at that. The angle is really not that great, is it? The angle to the runway could really be better. Alright, flaps are retracted, speed 250. Selected. Autopilot 1. Okay, so air conditioning system is set and that's it. So let's do the system checks. Engine air on, APU air off, packs on, APU stopped, lights on, flaps 0, landing gear up, TRP, climb, altimeters for the time being 1020, actually set standard. So standard cross check, passing flight level 84. Now, checked. System checks complete. So a couple of rain showers in the area, as we could see on the weather radar. We only see reflections. Here it is. Let's see, 100-mile range, roughly straight, nothing there. Excellent. So then, remember, 5,000 feet is the elevation. That means I'm going to delay all our procedures, such as the acceleration at 10,000 to become 10,000 AGL instead of 10,000 MSL. So temperature outside 11 degrees. We're about to enter the clouds, so let's play better safe than sorry. Engine anti-ice on. But now look at how that reduces our N1 and therefore our rate of climb. So that's really something to pay attention to when you're flying the RJs. With engine anti-ice on, they really don't have much climb power left. Alright, well, and that's it for the time being. So, enjoy watching our airplane lump up to cruise level. And then I'm looking forward to see you all as we are starting our approach and our approach preparation. turned off track for a little bit in order to avoid some of the weather that we are facing. Now, unfortunately, the weather radar doesn't give us any returns over here, but over Africa, you can be pretty sure in conditions like these, where you can see the CB range all the way up to cruise level, you really don't want to go through that. So that's one of the most important lessons over here. Now, it's probably going to get a little bit bumpy here, so let's get the fasten seatbelts on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has switched on fasten seatbelts.
And well, you can see some ice has been detected. I did already turn on the engine anti-ice. And what you can see over here is that our cruise N1, 89%, which is required in order to maintain a cruise Mach number of 0.67, is really close to the maximum available. So let me select MCT already, which interestingly enough is less than climb thrust. Well, that doesn't make much sense. MCT should always be the absolute maximum. But well, let's just stick to that and see what's gonna happen. So you can see we're basically at maximum thrust now with anti-ice on. So if anything happens that makes us lose a lot of speed, then yeah, our only option is gonna be to descend. Another interesting fact flying in these areas here is that radar coverage is really bad. So what you would normally do in the real world is you just tell them you're turning off track by so many miles. So for example, you would go, let's say 20 miles right off track. And that way ATC always knows where you actually are. Now I'm turning another 5 degrees right over here, just to be sure that we really get around this weather as much as possible, because as you've seen, we barely have any thrust reserves. Therefore, we've got to be careful with what we do have available. Now, once we're clear of the weather, we will be able to resume navigation into the general area of Victoria Falls. So let's already take a moment to have a look at our charts and the procedures that we are most likely going to fly. So we can skip the stars, we are not going to use them. We will fly the ILS approach most likely out of Victoria Falls VOR, or maybe get some shortcuts through radar vectoring. We'll see about that. So, gotta correct myself, not radar vectoring, but what they do like to do is to send you direct to Fox Alpha 003 and then ask how many miles you are from there, because as mentioned, they don't have a radar available over there. Now, it looks like that front over here really is in our way and is really blocking our continuous flight path, so I'll just keep going on this heading until we're hopefully behind this, and then hopefully with a left-hand turn we will be able to fly back towards the general vicinity of Victoria Falls, but we'll see about that. For the time being, I think our heading is a pretty good one, so I'll maintain that for as long as possible. Also, let's make sure that our TCAS is set to maximum range and below, so that in case there's anything else flying over here, we would get to hear about that. Okay, so let's start our general setup here. So the front course is going to be 118. There you go, 118 set once and set twice. The frequency 110.7. which is the ILS, and then we also need Victoria Falls VOR, which is 116.7. And approaching an airport like this that does not have radar available, you basically want to have that VOR, that field VOR up on at least one side. Now I just tuned it on the right side, so up here we have the DME to Victoria Falls, and we have the basic information that we need. Alright, so then the minimum for this one is going to be 3,700. set, and the field elevation 3,500. So I've got to correct that earlier entry that we made. Landing elevation 3,500. Here we go. So crossing another couple of clouds. The seatbelt signs are still on, and thereafter we will hopefully be able to resume navigation back towards. Usually I would have said Bonal, but that is not going to make sense anymore. So we'll probably fly direct to Victoria Falls VOR. We'll see about it. Okay, so that much about our setup. Now what else can we do? Well, we will fly a Flaps 24 approach because you have a very, very long runway in Vic Falls. So let's select Flaps 24 over here, and then what do we have? 24, so that's going to be 134 knots, and 182 is going to be our VFTO. So 134, here we go. Alright. And now it just switched over to the 39-ton chart. That's fine. Then we're going to take 133 and 179. Here we go. Okay. So that much about our approach setup. Okay, that looks much clearer on the left side. Then let's proceed direct to Victor Foxtrot Alpha. Execute, LNAV available, LNAV. Okay. So, are you ready for the approach briefing? By the way, that terrain just looks really beautiful, doesn't it? Gotta say, I really like the African landscape and anything associated with it. So we're rolling wings level pretty much now. Let's update the direct to Victor Fox Alpha real quick so that it really rolls wings level and doesn't fly us into that CB anymore. Interesting location of the top of descent down there. That definitely does not make much sense. So let's see, we fly to Victor Fox Alpha, and then of course the Fox Alpha points don't make much sense anymore. Coming from this direction, I'm fairly sure we're actually going to fly the standard approach out of Victor Fox Alpha. Okay, so let's select that. Here we go, and now everything is built. Perfect, so 180 knots for the procedure. Well, level 104 over the fields is like 5,000 feet roughly. No, it's 7,500. Well, that may be a little bit high. Let's change that 8,000 feet just to get a slightly better VNAV profile. For the descent then, 0.7/280 looks okay. 240 below 10,000 is also okay, but let's actually make that below 13,000. No? Let's try it that way, 250/13,000. Yeah, that works, okay. Very good. The arrival fuel is 3.4, the reserves, if I remember correctly, 3.0. Yeah, so that's okay. On the approach reference page, flap 24 is selected. We don't need a VNAV approach on this one. 5 knots wind correction, 133, makes sense. Okay, good. So that's all the basics. Then let's go ahead with the approach briefing, please. Let's try one more direct to Victor Fox Alpha. Nope. The TD stays off track. Okay, fine, fair enough. In the meantime, engine anti-ice off. And I think we can release our passengers one more time. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt sign. You are free to move about the cabin.
Okay, so let's start the briefing. We're inbound Victor Fox Alpha for the standard ILS approach runway 12 at Victoria Falls. The minimum on that one is going to be 3,700, which we can still set over here. Thank you. So 3,700 the minimum. In case of go-around, we proceed straight ahead to 5 DME Victor Fox Alpha, then a right turn back to the VOR. Maximum 220 knots, climbing 5,000. And 220 means we can clean it up completely, nothing to worry about. Now, I don't have any specials over here. MSA for the approach 4,700, 4,900 in the region of the Victoria Falls themselves. And we must not fly north of Zambezi River, since that's basically the border to the next neighboring country. Okay, extra fuel, 400 kilos, which equals maybe 5 minutes. Alright, thanks. So the arrival is going to be flown with the flight directors on all the way onto the ILS. I'm most likely also going to keep the autopilot on, but haven't decided on that yet. We'll see about it. Flaps 24 approach, we don't have any reversers installed on this aircraft, and we do have very long runway available, so we'll just roll all the way to the end, and then, well, not to the complete end, we'll roll all the way to Alpha 4, then vacate via Alpha 4 towards the international terminal up here. Runway itself, 4,000 meters, so absolutely nothing to worry about. Well, and I don't have any specials. Non-standards, well, it's non-radar environment, and the Victoria Falls themselves are the busiest airspace in all of Africa, because they have so much VFR traffic going for sightseeing over there. Therefore, good look outside, TCAS is on, and that is just one more argument actually to keep the autopilot on for about as much as possible, just so that we can have a good look outside, make sure we don't run into any of the VFR traffic. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Threats for the arrival, we basically talked about them already. We also talked about how to mitigate against them. So that's it. Any questions? No? Wonderful. So that's the briefing complete. Then I will quickly say goodbye to our passengers. You have control, your ATC. So, Vic Falls, yes, the same old weather, 28 degrees, that'll roughly be accurate. That's all I need. Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain speaking. We will soon start our descent towards Victoria Falls Airport. The remaining flight time is now in the region of about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on the local traffic. And in Victoria Falls, we're expecting good weather conditions, temperature 28 degrees. On the arrival, keep a good lookout. First, the right-hand side of the aircraft. Later, after we make our turn, aligning us with the runway, the left-hand side of the aircraft. And you may just be able to spot the Victoria Falls from our approach. Thank you very much for choosing Airlink for today's flight. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we look forward to welcoming you again on board of a future service. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay, so we just passed our top of descent, so with that, let's go ahead and start the descent over here. 14,000 at first, ground speed is 400 knots, that means if we go for a vertical speed of minus 2,000 feet a minute, that should be just about good. Fasten seatbelts are going to come on. Well, and then I see you all again a little bit later during the approach. Alright, we can see Victoria Falls Airport coming up right in front of us, down here. So from there we are going to join the VOR approach. Let's start to reduce our airspeed, all the way back towards like 210 or so. Reduce our vertical speed here to something very slight for the descent. And then let's go down to, I think it's 6,000 for the intercept. Let's just look that up once more. It is 5,000. Alright, and that's 5,000 feet set. So our airspeed is reducing nicely. We've got to lose 6,000 feet. We need like 13 miles. Yeah, that looks quite okay. With our current rate of the loss of airspeed. The level change mode over here, make it as easy as possible. And in the meantime, the landing lights are coming on, the fasten belts are on already. The cabin crew has already been advised of the 10 minutes to go. Then we have normal climb once again selected on the thrust mode computer. Well, and that's mostly it. Then I did already turn on our PTU a little bit earlier. Well, and then let's go ahead and read over our descent and approach checklist to see if we missed anything. So, PTU on, pressurization set, briefing complete, landing data are checked and the box are set. Seats and harness locked and secure. Descent checklist complete, approach checklist. For that, let's actually find the latest weather. And that's a QNH of 1010. So 1010 cross check, passing 10,500 now. Checked. Alright, altimeters, QNH 1010 cross checks, fast modes on, APU. Always forget that. Starting APU. Okay then, let's help the airplane a little bit with losing the altitude. I just really love the air brake in the RJ. Such an incredible useful tool. Compared to the speed brake in the 737, for example. Okay, so turning inbound, then we can take the ILS active on both sides. The courses are cross-checked anyway. Perfect. Okay, and then we have the APU available, so APU bleed on, engine bleeds off. Here we go. So, APU on, fuel panel set, cabin is advised, steep approach off, approach checklist complete. Okay, let's start reducing our speed towards 180 knots. This is all with the air brakes partially out, by the way. I could go a little bit more aggressive, but don't think we really need it.
Speed checked, flaps 80.
Yeah, not yet. So I don't want to slow down too much just yet. I basically just want to lose the altitude. Alright, flaps 18 and air brakes out. Warlock armed. Let's turn into heading 100 for the intercept. And Warlock armed again. Right, and here we are, approaching the profile. That descent may have been a little bit steeper than what we actually needed.
Flight slope captured. Speed checked, gear down. Localizer alive.
Checked. Okay, so, gear down. Okay, localizer star and glide slope star. So, runway heading 118, go around altitude 5,000 sets. Okay, let's reduce the speed all the way, 133. So we'll make it 138.
Speed checked, flaps 24.
Okay, flaps 24. Right, landing checklists. Landing gear, down, 3 green. Brakes are on yellow and checked. Right, lights on, flaps, 24 set for landing. Cabin, secure, airframe, anti and de-ice, off. And then APU air on, engine air impacts off and on, nose wheel steering centered, landing checklist complete. Wow, just look at the lovely coloring here. That looks really beautiful, doesn't it? By the way, if you're looking for the Victoria Falls, it should be just over here.
Speed checked. Flaps 33.
Nope, not needed, thank you. Okay, autopilot disconnected. And manual thrust.
Flaps.
No.
Flaps.
Not again, Ras. You should know this. And VRAS is off.
1,000.
Check.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
So, high temperatures, high humidity, high elevation. That's a recipe for turbulence.
Cabin is secured.
And then you can see how
500.
it's just going uphill a little bit on the short final there. Which is of course another factor why turbulence is to be expected on this one. So we're on the puppy. Down to the right you can see Victoria Falls VOR.
Minimums.
Continue.
100.
Air brakes out.
Flight slope.
Disregard.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Ground out.
Nice.
Spoilers yellow and green.
Now if we had runway markings that would be even nicer. Right, let's
Brake
test the
pressure
brakes.
check.
And then we can just let it roll. So that's Alpha 3 over here. We're gonna go one further and then vacate via Alpha 4. Manual brake.
60 knots.
Check. Okay, and here comes Alpha 4, that's where we are going to vacate. Well, and here we are. Welcome to Victoria Falls. Now let's go ahead and clean the airplane up. Where are you taxiing? Alright, we have an after landing checklist. So that's gonna be gust lock and air brake, setting in, radar off, APU on, flaps 0, after landing checklist complete. So, going slightly uphill, let's help it a bit. Looks like we're going so far uphill that I need excessive thrust to get it moving here. Oh, come on, this is really excessive now. How much do we need? 60%. That's a little bit too much, to be honest. note to ourselves, next time we fly to Victoria Falls, make sure that we don't get stuck in this little hole down here. You can see how it's going a little bit downhill and then uphill again. Alright then, parking gate number 2. Not this one here, but the next one. So the lights are off already. The APU is on. Should have been anyway. So, welcome to the Zimbabwe Victoria Falls International Airport. And here we are. So, parking brake is set, the APU generator is live and online for... oh no. Come on, where's that click spot?
Cabin crew, doors
There it
manual
is.
and cross-check.
Alrighty. So we'll most certainly keep the APU. And that's it. So, parking checklist. Speed brake. Sorry, parking brake. Set, slides disarm, transponder standby, hydraulics. Here we go. R off. Generators off. Reset. Air conditioning on. Engine shutdown performed. Fasten belts off. External lights off. Brake fans auto. Fuel pumps 1 on. Ignition off. Ice protection. Engine anti-ice is on. And the heaters are off. And that's the parking checklist complete. So let's get GSX to commence our deboarding. Well, my friends, and with that... that looks interesting down here. Okay. Yeah, just when you thought you'd seen it all, then GSX starts to move a jetway. Alright, so, tell you what, ground power, not really. They don't have stuff like that at an airport like this. In any case, that's it. I sure hope that you've enjoyed it. Welcome to Victoria Falls International Airport. And I really hope that you enjoyed the flight as much as I did. I surely had a blast flying the 146 again. Definitely an aircraft that we should fly a little bit more. But now it's up to you to let me know what you think of this one. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. Let me know how you liked it and how you liked that GSX bug crashing into one another over here. And most importantly, leave your feedback so that I can pick the right choices of aircraft, of routes for the channel. Thank you very much, as always. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing and want to support me, why not consider a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.